good evening, everybody, and welcome. Welcome to the 16th Congressional District Firefighter and EMS Awards. My name's Dave Sarney. I'm really, really happy to see such a great turnout tonight. We have some stellar local heroes in the room, and it's a real privilege to be part of this. That being said, let's open the ceremony with the Pledge of Allegiance. If you would all rise, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. We couldn't put these awards on if not for the yeoman service of our judges and our, we call them our judges, our selection committee. We get so many great nominations, it's difficult for us to weed through all those. Call him the chairman of the board of the nominating committee is Merv Cannell. Merv was a Sarasota firefighter. We won't hold that against him. For 35 years and served our community, and he's now the vice president of the Florida Professional Firefighters District 7. And Merv, if you come up and introduce a congressman, we'll get tonight's celebration underway.
Wait to put these on until I get up here so I don't trip. Thank you very much. I would like to take a moment of personal privilege before I do my task, and that was just to say that not everybody in this room knew Gary Tibbetts, but Dave is now filling that role. Gary was a close friend and a champion of these awards on behalf of the congressman, a very special man, very dear friend, and I'd just like you guys to give a moment of silence in recognition of Gary Tibbetts. Thank you. Well, it gives me great pleasure. I'm just extremely honored to have the opportunity to, one, hear all these great awards. We sat through them, and it was a pretty impressive group of folks. No surprise to you guys, obviously. But what a great job your departments did in getting the information forward to us so that we could recognize not just the mundane, the everyday, the great stuff you guys do, but those things that rose to the next levels, worthy of congressional consideration. So at this time, I want to introduce our Congressman, Vern Buchanan, tell you a little bit about him. U.S. Representative Vern Buchanan is the co-chair of the bipartisan 29-member Florida Congressional Delegation, currently serves on the powerful House Ways and Means Committee, which has jurisdiction over tax policy, international trade, health care, welfare, Social Security, and Medicare. Buchanan is the lead Republican of the Trade Committee, subcommittee. Buchanan ended the 116th Congress with 6 of his legislative initiatives enacted into law, bringing to 23 the total number of legislative initiatives he passed into law since taking office in 2007. These accomplishments include reforms to military training procedures, measures to stop animal cruelty, confronting the drug epidemic, helping Americans save for retirement, and making animal abuse a federal offense. And I'll just close before asking him to come up with saying, this is like a storybook ending for us. The firefighters got on board with his very first race back in 2007, and we worked hard on his behalf. We believed in him. We thought he was the right guy. His track record has proven that. But that initial win was 369 votes. So were it not for the efforts of everybody on that team, of course I have special feelings about the firefighters' role. But Vern would possibly not be our congressman today, and we would have missed out on all these great legislative initiatives that he championed. So with that, I'd like to ask you to come up and take over the evening, Congressman.
I tell you, Murph reminds me all the time. He said, Vern, without the firefighters, EMS, folks, you wouldn't have won the first election, and that's true. I won by 369. But then again, my pastor in our church said, without the church, I wouldn't have won either. We didn't show up, you wouldn't have won. But we went on from there. In the second race, we ended up winning by 67,000. But the firefighters and all of you in this room and other rooms have been, very supportive over the years. And I still remember, again, without your support early on, I wouldn't have been here. Now I'm a blue-collar kid that's been in business 30 years and done better than I ever imagined. And after 30 years of being in business, decided to run for Congress. And I thought, I never ran for anything. I'd just try it. And here I am all these years later. So it's a privilege and an honor to do that. But again, I can't say enough about Murph. I mean, talk to him, but he talk about a champion. He's been there passionately in our office and in Washington and everywhere else, in Tallahassee, fighting on your behalf. He deserves a big round of applause. I want to thank the audience for coming tonight to help recognize fire and rescue and EMS personnel who have provided distinguished service to the people of Florida's 16th Congressional District. And by the way, to give you some sense of that, we're at roughly, 10 years ago, they've done the census here, we were at maybe 780,000 people. It's the second fastest growing area out of 27 congressional members in the state. We picked up 203,000 people. So we want to make sure there's the resources for that. But I just tell you, in terms of growth and what's going on in this region, it's really incredible, the growth, and it's obvious for a lot of different reasons why. As first responders, fire departments, and emergency medical service teams are summoned on short notice to serve their respective community, these brave men and women spend hundreds of hours in training so they are prepared when they get the call. Time and again, these responses are many times dangerous, stressful situation, but they do it with strength and composure. First responders are the pillar of our community. As a member of Congress, I've worked to ensure that we have the resources they need in terms of safety in their job. 2012, I established the 16th Congressional District Fire and Rescue and EMS Awards to honor officers, departments, and units for outstanding achievement. And we set it up, but we have the judges. So each winner has their name submitted in the Congressional record. What does that mean? You might get a lot of awards. You're not going to get one like this, so your grandkids can be a part of the archives. So it's a very special recognition. I take it very serious, but it's when you get it, you'll see it's a very nice package. I want to thank all the independent committee comprised of a cross-section of current and retired firefighters and rescue personnel for judging this year's nomination. Of course, Murph, Dennis Jones, Mike Suez, Doug Hoffman, Brian Gorski, and Joe Robinson are the judges and help us make those decisions. I also want to thank Dave, who's done a great job putting all this together and for assisting judges and coordinating the events. Let's give him a round of applause, too. Thank you, Dave. We have many awards to hand out tonight, as well as copies of recognition for the Congressional Record, which is the official record of Congress. So with that, Sally. Sally's my district director and been with me day one. Thanks, Sally. She does all the heavy lifting.
So as Dave said, as your name is called, if you could come forward and line up here and then come over here for your photo with the congressman. Fire medic Michael Alberti of the Sarasota County Fire Department. In August of 2020, fire medic Alberti was at home when he saw and heard a loud lightning strike. He went outside to check on his daughter, who was riding her bike. He noticed a crowd of neighbors gathered down the street. As he approached the crowd, he noticed smoke coming from a house. Alberti asked the neighbors if they had seen the residents of the home. No one reported seeing them, and it was unknown if they were still alive. Alberti quickly returned to his house and grabbed a fire extinguisher. He returned and entered the house that was on fire. He encountered a light haze of smoke and low heat conditions. Alberti found an elderly man in the residence and with the help of a neighbor took him outside. Alberti entered the house again and found 2 more elderly gentlemen locked in a bedroom. He guided them out of the house that was now thick with smoke and rising heat. Due to Alberti's actions, 3 citizens are alive and well. Fire medic Alberti is presented with the Preservation of Life Award. Lieutenant Randy Allen of the Sarasota County Fire Department. In May of 2020, Lieutenant Allen and crew responded to the report of a Marine rescue at Siesta Key Beach. Upon arrival, they found a child that had been pulled from the water. The child was unconscious and not breathing. While the crew began working on the child, Lieutenant Allen observed 2 more persons in distress about 100 yards off the beach. He swam out to them and single-handedly brought them to shore, saving 2 lives. Lieutenant Allen is presented with the Preservation of Life Award. Fire medics Miriam Troyer and Andrew Moeller of the Sarasota County Fire Department. In June of 2020, fire medics Miriam Troyer and Andrew Moeller were responding to a non-emergency when they were flagged down by citizens reporting an automobile had run into a retention pond. Troyer and Moeller entered the water to assess the situation and found an unconscious driver in the still sinking vehicle. At great risk to themselves, they managed to break a window, cut the seatbelt, and remove the driver from the vehicle. They then swam the driver offshore and began treatment. Fire medics Troyer and Moeller are presented with the Preservation of Life Award. Driver engineer Peter Dzinski of the Hillsborough County Fire Rescue. In September of 2019, 2 units arrived at the same time to the scene of a near drowning involving 2 children. Driver engineer Dzinski immediately ran ahead of the other personnel and retrieved one of the patients for treatment. The patient was transported to the hospital and was expected to make a full recovery. Meanwhile, sheriff's deputies brought the second patient out for treatment. Dzinski's heightened sense of urgency is believed to have made a critical difference in the outcome of the first patient. Driver engineer Dzinski is unable to be here, but he will be presented with the Preservation of Life Award. I believe Captain Shara of Hillsborough County Fire Rescue is also unable to be here. In January 2020, Captain Shara was off duty when he noticed a woman in visible distress on the side of Williams Road. He stopped and quickly determined that her infant son was in cardiac arrest. He performed CPR until other Hillsborough County Fire Rescue personnel arrived and provided advanced medical care. Although the child had a weak pulse and was in respiratory arrest upon transfer of care, Captain Shara's quick intervention allowed the child to be fully resuscitated. Captain Shara will be presented with the Preservation of Life Award. Deputy Chief John Elwood, Captain Michael Dvorak, K-9 Karma, K-9 Max from Manatee County Search and Rescue. In June of 2019, the Manatee County Sheriff's Office asked Manatee County Search and Rescue to assist with locating a missing person. Deputy Elwood deployed his K-9 Karma. A significant amount of time had elapsed since the person went missing. Rain was diluting the amount of scent. The scene was heavily contaminated by the family and sheriff's deputies, and no articles of clothing were available for the K-9s to obtain the missing person's scent. Deputy Chief Elwood and K-9 Karma used the driver's seat of the missing person's car to obtain the scent. Karma located an area of interest in a nearby drainage ditch. Upon Captain Dvorak's arrival, K-9 Max was used to search the area of interest and located the missing person at the bottom of the ditch, with only the person's nose, eyes, and mouth showing. The rest of the body was covered in water and mud. If not for the actions of these 2 members and their canines, the person would have drowned from the rising water in the ditch. Deputy Chief Elwood and Captain Dvorak are presented with the Unit Citation Award. Captains Michael Bugg, Eric Sawyer, driver engineers Ralph Mascaro, Aaron Burden, and Derek Wendt, and fire medics Gilad Miomi and Colin Tracy of the Hillsborough County Fire Rescue. In February of 2020, Captains Bugg and Sawyer, driver engineers Mascaro, Burden, and Wendt, and fire medics Mimoni and Tracy rescued a 19-year-old man whose torso was resting inside an industrial-sized concrete mixer. His right arm was wedged between the mixer base and multiple plates, as well as the mixer motor, leaving limited access to the arm. Captain Bugg quickly developed an incident action plan, which was seamlessly modified as the rescue progressed. Captain Bugg's leadership and the teamwork among the crew was evident as they remained focused and calm throughout this extraordinary rescue. Captains Bugg and Sawyer, driver engineers Mascaro, Burden, and Wendt, and fire medics Mimoni and Tracy are presented with a Unit Citation Award. Captain Derek Butler, acting driver engineer Ryan Fritz, firefighters Travis Poirier, and Edward Koffler of the Hillsborough County Fire Rescue. In May of 2020, Captain Butler, acting driver engineer Fritz, and firefighters Poirier and Koffler were among those to respond to a residential structure fire. 2 residents were trapped on the second floor inside the home. An aerial ladder was deployed to enable a swift rescue, while firefighters entered the home and advanced a hose line up to the second floor to locate and remove the 2 trapped occupants. Both occupants and several pets were removed from the home uninjured. The fire was extinguished within 10 minutes of arrival with minimal damage to the home. Captain Butler, acting driver engineer Fritz, and firefighters Poirier and Koffler are presented with a Unit Citation Award. Captain Brian Visnovek, acting Captain Charles Bridges, Lieutenant Joshua Veek, driver engineers Jeffrey Hartzner and Patrick Geiger, acting driver engineer Mark Deeth, and fire medics Adam Schwer, Violet Anderson, Juanita Benjamin, and Brian Johnson of Hillsborough Fire and Rescue. In May of 2019, off-duty fire medic Brian Johnson performed CPR on a patient that went into cardiac arrest. Captain Visnovek, driver engineers Hartzner and Geiger, and fire medic Schwer were in the process of going out for training when they were called to respond. Upon arrival, they performed manual CPR and transferred the patient to acting Captain Bridges, Lieutenant Veek, and acting driver engineers Anderson, Deeth, and Benjamin. The patient was immediately placed on autopulse and transported to St. Joseph's ER. Everyone's teamwork is credited with saving the patient's life. Captain Visnovek, acting Captain Bridges, Lieutenant Veek, driver engineers Hartzner and Geiger, and acting driver engineer Deeth, and fire medics Schwer, Anderson, Benjamin, and Johnson of Hillsborough Fire and Rescue are presented with a Unit Citation Award. Battalion Chief Morris Lopez, Lieutenant Joseph Blackwelder, fire medic Brandon Gadberry, driver engineer Jerome Mancilis of the Hillsborough County Fire and Rescue. In April of 2019, Captain Lopez found a person down next to engine 11. He rolled the individual over and realized it was a firefighter. Captain Lopez then began life-saving procedures, opening the firefighter's airway and calling Mayday on the radio. Lieutenant Blackwelder, driver engineer Mancilis, and fire medic Gadberry quickly responded to the scene. The downed firefighter was pulseless and in VFib. CPR was administered and 1 shock was delivered, which brought back the firefighter's pulse. If not for their combined actions, the downed firefighter would not have survived. Battalion Chief Lopez, Lieutenant Blackwelder, fire medic Gadberry, and driver engineer Jerome Mancilis are presented with a Unit Citation Award. Chief Michael Williamson of the Parish Fire District. Chief Williamson began his fire service with the North River Fire District, working his way through the ranks to battalion chief. After his retirement, he served as a dispatcher for the Manatee County Emergency Dispatch Center, where he utilized his years of experience to enhance field operations for on-scene incident commanders. He also served as a code enforcement officer for the city of Palmetto. Again, he used his experience to correct issues that ultimately improved the health, safety, and welfare of the community he served. During his 5 years as a member of the Parish Fire District, he has been highly involved in many community-based projects, like coordinating events, securing tens of thousands of dollars in grants, and resolving community problems. Chief Williamson is presented with the Career Service Award.
I'd just like to take a minute to thank the Congressman personally and Dave Sarney and Vice President Cannell. Being a part of this for
Sir,
all
could
these
you come to
years.
the podium?
No, I'm good.
For
And,
TV.
but it's an honor to be, it's very humbling to come up here and get an award because you come to work every day. So congratulations to all the guys and girls out there for doing their work.
Deputy Chief of Operations Jason L. Doherty of Hillsborough County Fire Rescue. Chief Doherty's passion is clear to any who have the pleasure of working with him. Since joining Hillsborough Fire Rescue 5 years ago, he has completed his master's degree, Executive Fire Officer Training, Chief Fire Officer Training, and attended the Fire Service Executive Development Institute. As Operations Chief, he has promoted firefighter safety. During COVID, his ingenuity and initiative allowed HCFR to use alternative staffing models and enhanced PPE use and verification quickly and safely. He took the initiative to secure Mr. Foggers to decontaminate apparatus and was instrumental in the purchase of air purification devices for all engines and ladders. These devices removed 97% of all contaminants, including the COVID virus. When a member was exposed, Deputy Chief Doherty called them personally to do contact tracing and inform the member of their status and necessary precautions. While this list is not exhaustive, it is an example of the type of leader he is. Chief Doherty is presented with the Dedication and Professionalism Award. Captain Nicholas Riaz of the Manatee County Search and Rescue. Captain Riaz had the vision to establish a medical division allowing for the expansion of services that Manatee Search and Rescue delivers to the public at no cost. He drew upon his knowledge, skills, and abilities as a paramedic to research, develop, and procure the resources needed for the new division. Captain Riaz developed treatment protocols, procured an electronic reporting system that interfaces with the local EMS service, and secured a medical director to oversee the program. Because of Captain Riaz's vision, Manatee County Search and Rescue is the only volunteer SAR team in the state with basic life support capabilities. Captain Riaz is presented with the Dedication and Professionalism Award. Lieutenant Kimberly Rogers of Hillsborough County Fire Rescue. Lieutenant Rogers has shown exceptional leadership in an area of the fire service that has often been overlooked. She has spearheaded a much-needed peer support team for Hillsborough County Fire Rescue. Lieutenant Rogers spent several years vetting clinicians and worked hand-in-hand with the administration on the rapid expansion of the scope of and member participation in both the peer support team and the previous critical incident stress management team. She also helped establish valuable contacts with the Florida Firefighters Safety and Health Collaborative and several other fire departments throughout the state. Lieutenant Rogers' endeavors were performed completely outside the duties of a lieutenant and are a shining example of leadership and dedication. All of her efforts were to culminate in a massive training event at the Hillsborough County Fire Rescue Public Safety Operations Center. Unfortunately, the COVID pandemic put a hold on these plans. Regardless, Lieutenant Rogers is still available to anyone who needs her help or any guidance, and her dedication and efforts are shaping up to become one of the most influential and far-reaching projects that Hillsborough County Fire Rescue has ever experienced. Lieutenant Rogers is presented with the Dedication and Professionalism Award. Social worker Sonia Schuhart of Manatee County Public Safety. As a Manatee County Community Paramedic Program social worker, Ms. Schuhart uniquely stands out and truly embraces personal dedication to the emergency medical services profession. Ms. Schuhart assists community paramedic program patients by identifying health and social gaps and aligning them with appropriate community-based resources. She also finds other ways to serve the community and its first responders. She has made it her mission to find and assist homeless people in the Manatee County. She takes to the streets to connect with some of the most medically and socially vulnerable population. Through her outreach, she has assisted with finding shelters, coordinating medical resources, and advocating for this sometime forgotten population. She also has championed other important public outreach events. During the month of April, she tackled pediatric drowning prevention by taking time to create educational messaging and provide it at vaccination sites. During Suicide Prevention Week, she coordinated a team walk at a local fundraising and awareness event. And lastly, and possibly most importantly, she has given her expertise and grief management to the public safety family during some of the most difficult times their team has faced with unexpected loss. Sonia Schuhart is presented with the Dedication and Professionalism Award. Corporal William Barnes of the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office. Corporal Barnes is unable to be here. He will be presented with the Associate Service Award. Deputies Andrew Fleming and Keaton Bruce of the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office. They are also unable to be here. They will be presented with the Associate Service Award. Lieutenant Terry Adams and Corporal Carlos Brito of the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office. In June of 2021, Hillsborough County Fire Rescue was dispatched to a traffic accident. An 8-month pregnant passenger was ejected from a vehicle and was in cardiac arrest. 2 Hillsborough County deputies had responded and deployed an AED with a bag valve mask and were doing CPR. Fire Rescue took over CPR and transported the patient to Tampa General Hospital, where the mother unfortunately passed away. The baby was delivered by emergency cesarean section and successfully resuscitated. This probably would not have been the case without the early CPR performed by Lieutenant Adams and Corporal Brito before Fire Rescue arrived. Lieutenant Adams and Corporal Brito are presented with the Associate Service Award. Trexley and Bradley Cleopat. In May of 2019, Bradley observed a fire in the garage of a home across the street. He summoned his brother Trexley, and they both risked injuries to wake the sleeping resident of the home, who barely escaped the fire without injury. An assessment determined that the fire was extremely hot, growing out of control, and had already breached the roof near the master bedroom, resulting in the garage collapsing. The resident was unharmed due to the valiant efforts of these 2 young men. Trexley and Bradley Cleopat are presented with the Associate Service Award. That concludes the awards, Congressman.
Let me just say quickly, congratulations to all the recipients and their families. And as you look through it, being a part of the Congressional record is very special. Nobody else gives those out other than members of Congress. And we, just from my personal standpoint, from the bottom of my heart, I appreciate all your effort and the difference you make in our community. It's huge. And just know that, and we got your back. Thank you. God bless you, and God bless America.